Evening all, welcome back to, well, EVE Fanfest. This is a Vanguard review. I'm not going to show the whole video, we're going to do a live kind of review, commentary, talk, whatever you want to call it. So let's start.
Awaken, Vanguard. Please welcome to the stage CCP Collins.
Awaken Vanguard? What?
Hi! Hello.
So this is CCP Collins. He's a nice guy. He totally, I'm just going to show this, he totally looks like this guy, Nick Helms, British comedian. It's uncanny how similar they are, but they're both brilliant, but I just thought I'd show that. Let's just start. So,
All right. Hello there. God, I still can't see all of you. God.
I'm probably not going to go through that. So basically, this is the intro. I'm going to jump around a bit. So we're going to go and look at some of the stuff they're going to talk about. They broke this Fanfest keynotes down into 5 key areas. I'm assuming you've watched this, so we're only going to comment really on what we see. So I think a lot of this video is going to be scanning through. So I'll click play now because this was interesting.
Of Upwell are destabilizing local populations all throughout the planets of New Eden, tearing down ecosystems, evacuating villages, all to introducing objectives, rewards, and importantly, narrative beats.
So I quite like this. So let's talk about what we see here. So kind of the biggest challenge I think they'll have is if you've got a MMO FPS, as he called it, you've got a bit of a challenge here because how do you onboard people to something? Because FPSs are, here's a gun, there's some enemies, go shoot. And that's your training, literally. It's about as deep and complex as probably the Russian army, which is, here's a gun, go shoot. Oh, you got blown up. Oh, well. It does feel a bit like that, unfortunately, in FPSs. But for an MMO FPS, it's a bit more complicated. And I think this is where Dust got it right. I think it got it right. It basically didn't matter if you knew how to fit a suit or not because you were given basic suits and a gun. And I think most people who'd never played the game before could just drop in and off they go. And as they got better at it, they'd be like, actually, if I add modules to this suit, or if I go and do, I don't know, X, Y, Z and this gun and blah, 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 all of a sudden you started to create an advantage by fitting. And I think that's something that I would not underestimate in most games, to be honest, is as you get better at the game, you get better at you get better at fitting it and the knowledge and so on. So I think this is a good way to kind of build the narrative around, let's say, a tutorial, is you have different deployments that create kind of thoughts, processes. I think it was referred to as beats. So this is kind of cool. I like this.
We've created a system to help deliver this that we're calling commissions. Commissions are a way for us to introduce more character, more of the universe to you as a player in Vanguard, bringing New Eden to you in your doorstep.
So again, commissions, good idea, very nice. I kind of like this. I think this is the biggest challenge of the game in my book, is you've got this rich wealth of resource, of background. How do you then create something that is based upon it, part of it, inspired by it, and also, impactful to it? And I think commissions, it could be a way to do it. It will probably be, there's a Triglavian, there's I think that's a Deathless, or what do you call it? Is that what they call them? I forget. Drifters, maybe. This is probably some, I don't know, Galante dude. I kind of like it. I think it makes sense. Let's keep going.
You'll be interacting with different actors and NPCs representing the room.
Let's just jump around a bit.
I talked about bastions.
So here we go. So offered commissions, this is going to be like, go and do this, go and do that, go and do this. And then you kind of build loyalty points, I guess, with it. I'm liking it. I'm loving the fact they're using lorem ipsum. It does make me laugh. It's just filler text. I love it. This is so filler. They've not even entered some information out. It's fine. It's fine. I'm not mocking it. It's quite amusing. I think one of the interesting things they talked about was bastions. This, I'm not going to sort of let them talk about it because it just takes forever. Was basically this is going to be a very clever system to get groups of people to team together. And I think at release, there'll be a set number of bastions. You'll probably pick an empire or a major character. And you'll start to, you'll see it, and, leaderboards, NPCs, commissions, markets, metas. There'll be, if you go for a Mar, you'll have a Mar weapons. If you go Mimitar, you might have a Flaylock. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? And I think this is kind of what
weapons where the ammo type can be more readily created. As players at a Bastion, You have access to different commissions and markets. Going to another Bastion may feel entirely different overall.
So this is clever. Whoever came up with this, gold star, because I don't think we've ever seen anything like this in a game before. There's an awful lot of territorialism, if that's a word, in that there EVE Online. This makes good sense to me, but again, I'm going to assume these are empire-based. You'll then have kind of deep space player-based empires building bastions as well. So I do like this. I think this has real potential. I think the thing I would probably urge here is this doesn't feel as flexible as the old Dust system. The old Dust system was pretty straightforward, like EVE really. There's no limit. You can create a corporation, live anywhere, do anything. This feels like you're being guide railed through a social part. Now, I'm sure it won't feel like that, but that would be my biggest concern with this, is that there is this kind of guide rail experience of, well, now you've joined the, I don't know, Metropolis, the Galante, let's say, Bastion, therefore blasters, therefore this, therefore that, which is fine. But what I always thought was great in Dust is you could have, I don't know, any fit, any gun. You could have a Mimitar Scout with a Mar laser rifle. Not that you would, because those two things don't really go together, but you see my point. It kind of would make sense not to go too far there, because with metas, and unfortunately this is the way EVE is at the moment, is whatever the strongest meta is, that's all you see. So if it's, I don't know, scorpions with, I don't know, jammers, shows how long I played, how long ago I played. That's not particularly interesting when all you then see is scorpions. And let's say there's a counter to them, which is X. I don't know. I do worry about that because I think there's nothing better, particularly in Dust, the old Dust days, when you would come across heavies and, scouts and everything really. And I think if there wasn't really a meta now I think about it. I mean, there was, but there wasn't anything that you just saw heavies with heavy machine guns. Like, you didn't see that. There was it felt so well balanced that I quite liked it. Anyway, let's carry on. So Bastions are a big plus for me. Oh, there we go. So the only ones are just going to be the Deathless and the Sisters of Eve. I think this is going to be the important bit is, corporation, player-made Bastions. I think that's going to be very important indeed. I love this. I think this is wonderful. I think one of the key things that I never quite understand is in computer games, you have this ability to create the most incredible imaginary landscapes. When I saw this, it just reminded, I mean, again, heavily inspired by Denis Villeneuve and Dune, heavily inspired by that. I think we're going to see an awful lot of art direction just completely inspired by things like those films, because they are so new and different and clever. And I think this just is like, whoever created this, we know that you really like Dune the films, and why wouldn't you? But again, great if this could be some interactive space. This was what was missing in Dust, was the ability to have like a central space you could go to and see your buddies. Not that I think it was massively missing, but it just felt nice to have a social element that I think was very missing. But there we go. Let's fast forward. So weapon lockers, obviously that's all the same gun. But, when it comes to weaponry, I think it's looking very good. I did like the suits, and I got a bit excited about this, but I'm just going to play it because I think this is where you'll see there's a bit of a disappointment here.
CCP Massey will talk about the future of weapons a little later. Now, the future ambition is for us to choose between several suits that you have collected over many moons of playing EVE Vanguard. After selecting your suit, this will be where you can go deeper into customization by choosing different skins based on your personal taste.
So let's just stop there. Skins and skins only. I'm not sure that's right. If you're going to have modules in guns, why wouldn't you put them in suits? In fact, now I think about it, is the gun the right thing to be modular? Would the suit not be the modular thing here? I don't know, because you've got equipment, so maybe that's the way it needs to be framed. Is you have equipment that makes a suit modular, but that means the suit is pointless anyway. So it kind of feels like a bit of a miss, that does. I'm not sure I like this, because it feels as if the suit isn't important in any way. And it feels like the gun is the only thing that you'll have some kind of modification on. And I'm okay with that. I mean, there's nothing particularly wrong with that at all, in fact. But what I think it makes me feel is that was a unique part of Dust, was that it had this ability to feel like you could brick tank stuff, you could speed tank stuff, you could have jump modules. And I think that really made the game really fun. And I think there's definitely, it's a shame. You know, I think this looks great, but I'm not sure this feels right to me at the moment. I'm sure they'll do a great job with it, but I mean, look how good they look. I mean, they look fantastic. You know, you could imagine that as a soldier from 20,000 years in the future, couldn't you? It looks amazing. And so I think, you know, when it comes to suits, I was a bit disappointed. I think this worried me slightly that there is still no, let's say, mass customization of things. I think that's something that is potentially missing a bit. Anyway, so moved on to planets. I think this was interesting because they're talking about the different biomes. Obviously, I love the fact that this is 20,000 years in the future. There's an awful lot of construction and production. There's an awful lot of ships that are no longer needed. So they're just crashed into the planets. You know, I like that thought that this is going to be a major part of the game. You know, you're going to have different biomes, yes, but yeah, there's a huge quantity of just raining debris. And I think that is brilliant. I can't wait for this. I still think what they produced in the game, you know, the recent, you know, whatever it was, playtest was fantastic. The graphics were really good, and I can't wait to see where they really go with this. So, you know, I think the art direction of this is just, you know, top notch, and I'm really excited to see where they go with it. Anyway, let's keep going. So I think we have some gun footage here. Let's see, maybe here.
And our mission is simple.
Oh no, this is just more talking.
Build worlds that feel the way to build. We can't spend months hand placing every rock and every pebble. Unreal 5 gives us a massive upgrade when it comes to world building.
So this is fantastic. I'm just going to speed through this. I think this is the biggest challenge of games like this, is if you've got 60,000 planets, how do you then produce something that isn't the same every time? And I think by what they're doing here, they're doing this kind of elite, dangerous thing, which is they're having kind of, you know, an algorithm just basically run what the surface of the planet should be. And I think that just looks fantastic. So I can't wait for this. I think this looks great. I mean,
for you, that means more worlds, more adventures, and more reasons to keep exploring.
So I think that's such an important part of the game, is the exploration. I really hope they carry on with that. So here we have CCP Lord of War. He's the guy that creates guns. I think he has the best job ever. And I kind of like, these are the enemies. These are the kind of Mordus Legion. I kind of like what we're seeing here. This is good. You know, can't really comment on this. I think from an NPC point of view, it looks strong. And I'm quite excited about this. I think this just looks fantastic. It's exciting to think. I've always wondered that about games, that you kind of have, particularly with first-person shooter games, is once you get an gun, pretty much nothing's really that much of a scare to you anymore. And I like games where you have something like an enemy in it that's like, yeah, your gun doesn't hurt me, so bring it. I kind of like that. I think we need more of that. And I don't know who this big dude is, but it looks like he's literally sat on the Iron Throne and it's stuck to his back. He's got a big bum or something, but he looks great. And I think, you know, he could be someone who's completely impervious to X, Y, Z. Therefore, you've got to use a bit of tactics to bring him down. I always like that. I think Left 4 Dead ruined me a bit because it gave me this like belief that, yeah, you can have a really good gun. Doesn't mean anything. If you meet certain, you know, enemies, you'll be overwhelmed and so on. So I kind of like that. Right. So I think there was some talk of actual weapon play. So let's watch it.
And we're greatly encouraged by the positive feedback we've heard so far, but even more encouraged by the amount of constructive feedback that you guys have been giving us.
All right, that's not it. So let me just fast forward to it. I think. Here we go. So what I think they're telling us is there's going to be more guns. Great. I don't know what that is, but it looks rather amusing. It looks like a mining tool, actually. But I kind of like the fact that they're adding to the arsenal, and I think it's looking pretty good. I like the premise here because you could be starting to get some quite interesting, you know, gameplay styles out. So let's see. I think this is a video here, so I'll shut up. I'll play. Now that is just hilarious. That's a shotgun that basically almost has like dragon's breath ammo loaded into it. I love it and I want it. I'm not even sure what that is, but it looks incredible. It's like a railgun of some kind, but again, I'm absolutely loving it. It's sort of like a blaster railgun shotgun thing. Again, that looks like a rail pistol, something like that. Brilliant. Right, so this is, again, some sort of Amar sniper rifle. I think this one I'm not mad about, and let me give you some active feedback on this. The Amar laser rifle was one of the best guns in Dust. It wasn't the most effective, but it was fun, and it was different, because it was one of those guns, like I guess some of the stuff in EVE, that the longer you had it on the target, the more damage it did, so it wound up. And it had a risk of overload, if I remember rightly. But it was just brilliant. And I think this one is, again, it feels a bit like the other guns, in that it's a railgun, wind up, shoot. And I think that Amar weaponry, lasers don't work that way. You switch a laser on, it's on. And then over time, it's digging and burning and hurting more. I still think that's probably the way that it should be. It has potential. We'll just keep watching. Maybe this was the Amar one. Oh, look, it's Thale's sniper rifle. Yes, officer sniper rifles. Remember them? I don't know who shot that, but they're totally using aimbot. Joking, by the way. That's very good. So there we go. So I like that. I think that has real potential. I think this looks really exciting. I think, yeah, they're doing a great job. Like, I really did enjoy it. I mean, that is a Dust. I'm sure that's from Dust, by the way. I remember a Dust image almost exactly the same as that. But anyway, it does look rather good. I'll probably find it and share it, because that to me does smile. But yeah, I mean, you know, it was a great keynote. I would recommend you go and watch it. Things like proximity chat, squadding, you know, these are all kind of things that you probably would like from a game. I think proximity is dangerous, but fun. I think it produces some more, you know, YouTube sort of moments. And I would even say, if there was one thing I was going to throw into the thought process here, is you need to find a way to make people clip this game. And if you think about all the good shooters out there today, I mean, I'm going to throw some like DayZ, maybe PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. They produce moments that people clip, YouTube, or share. I think that's really important. I don't know if they're even going to do things like Discord integration, but maybe there needs to be something there as well that just starts sharing the funny moments. Because YouTube, you got to create a video for YouTube. TikTok and, you know, Twitch and things like that. I think, well, Twitch is live streaming, so I guess not that. But you know, Discord, for example, it would be nice to have something that was a bit more easy, so you could just clip something and then share it. Now, I know through Steam you can do an awful lot of recording, but to me this feels like I would not underestimate that, because to be honest, nowadays it feels like if you get a Shroud, or who's someone else, or Dr. Disrespect, maybe not him, but you get someone like that playing your game, you're going to make a lot of sales. And I think, unfortunately, that's probably where they are now. You can get some middle of the road streamers and YouTubers way better than me, don't get me wrong, no disrespect here, but unless you get like a pretty big name, I don't think it gets the extent of what you could get from it. And I kind of think of things like PUBG, Fortnite, you know, they very cleverly created the buzz through things like social media. I mean, not entirely, because obviously they have to make a very good, engaging game, and they're obviously going to be able to do that. But now, to me, it feels like what would be the logical next step, and it feels like make the game have moments. So things like body physics, and I know this game is not necessarily going to have that, but this could be an issue. So if you ever played Halo, putting grenades underneath the Warthog and watching it fly into orbit, that went viral. People literally created buzz. I mean, I played Halo because I saw those videos. I was like, oh my days, what is this? So I would even say that there should be a more kind of, the game is the game, but think about how then you would share moments from the game. So a director's mode was always something I wanted in Dust, a spectator cam, because you could do so much with a spectator cam. You could make quite engaging material. Now, it's hard. It costs money to create these things, but to me, that feels like it would be a wonderful thing to have. Loving the fact that people are already testing new versions. I think this is part of the VIP or whatever they call it program, and I think the mere fact that it's called VIP makes me very negative to it, because I'm one of those kind of people. But I love the fact that people are learning and playing and doing things like this, because it does remind me of what we did in Dust days when we worked out that we could get on top of the MCU and we could literally sit on top of dropships, and so much fun. So go and look at some of the sort of Dust 514 year-end tribute videos that we did, because we had fun like this as well. And it's great because you can find stuff wrong with the game, which is always quite fun. But I think, there's some things coming like Squad Revive. That's quite useful. I could see that being very, very useful, actually. And the next event is, the 16th of September? So we've got the Nemesis event. So, lots to look forward to. I know sort of at the moment, everyone's a little bit hesitant with Vanguard, certainly from my channel, I guess, because we're old Dust vets and we're all a bit like grumble, not Dust 515. But I would urge you to give it a go. Please do open your mind to it, because I think actually they're producing something that is absolutely worthy of merit. And it's weird, because if I think back to my videos I did way back around Dust and what I wanted Dust to become, this is kind of what I always wanted it to become, a multiplayer, massively kind of open world with the ability to transform, move around, do missions, very much drop in, drop out, then have social spaces, you'll have contracts. I mean, I'm really excited about this, and I hope you are too. But there we go. I hope you enjoyed that. Big shout out to the team doing this. I think there's a little bit at the end. Let's just give them some love. There we go. The 4 people that came on were brilliant. You've got Nick Helm here. You've got CCP Lord of War. You've got CCP sharply dressed and looking good. And then you've got CCP awesome because she's Icelandic and therefore she will beat you to pieces. Oh, look, it's great. Like, the team's good. The game looks great. I think we're in safe hands here. So please make sure that you go and do what they've asked you to do, which is join their Discord and wishlist this game. Do it now.